Welcome back once again to Christian Life Modern World. We are so excited to have you once again. We are your hosts, Liz and Alyssa.
Alyssa.
We're so happy to be here. We're continuing on our health and nutrition segment. We have a special guest with us here today. Before we welcome her in, I do want to share something with you from the scripture. So last time we had Dr. Joel, we had Chanela Senkoa, who were talking to us about holistic health, how we should take care of our bodies, how there is a combination of our mental health, our family unit, the food that we eat, the medications that we put into our bodies. And so today we're going to be focusing just on food and nutrition and how to take care of these bodies. And the book of Genesis, chapter 129, it says, Then God said, I give you every seed bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. So that's going to be the fundamental of what we do today. We're going to be talking about how food has been provided to us in a way to nourish our bodies, to heal our bodies, take care of our bodies, take care of our families, right? We're going to be able to discover how food is not just something that we do for ourselves. Being Latinas, we know that people come over, the first thing you do is you offer them a meal. That's how
Mhm.
you show that you welcome them into your house. You want to show them you care. You want to show them that there it's not an uncomfortable space for them, right? We say we want you to stay for a while. Um, so let me just jump right in and introduce our special guest, who is Joanne Ortiz. She is a 37-year-old nutrition enthusiast. She is a wife. She is a mother of three children. She has been the owner of two community pharmacies. There's one, Cure Aid, that's located in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and Paterna in Worcester. And she is just passionate for nutrition and wellness. That drives everything that she does. And her desire is to be able to teach others, communicate what she has experienced and what she has learned, and be able to encourage others to have a healthy life. She grew up in New Jersey with her family, where she enjoyed many traditional Spanish plates. And during that time, there was a lot of neglecting of fruits and vegetables and things like that. So she became um, a fan of fruits and vegetables after she grew up, and she wanted to start taking care of her body. She has an associate's degree in health applied science. She is committed to educating others, as I mentioned, and she finds joy in mental clarity through hot Pilates, and that's where she deepens her physical awareness and connection with her body. Welcome, Joanne.
Welcome to you guys as well. And for me, it's an honor to be here, part of this podcast. When I was invited to be part of this, I was very nervous and excited. And I'm like, well, hey, great. I'm going to be able to share something that I'm so passionate about with the community, with the world, and I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
No, we're so happy to have you. I think this is such a good next segue after our last couple episodes. I think you're gonna provide some awesome insights. We're excited. And just for you guys who are viewing the video here with us, Joanne is in the room with us. She's just on another side. So she is here with us if he's looking away.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Joanne, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit of background, why this is something that captured your attention. Why are you so passionate for this?
Yes, so I'm so passionate about nutrition and eating well because for many years of my life, I struggled with IBS, which is inflammation in your intestine. And I went to many doctors and I'm like, what's going on with me? I had a colonoscopy and they tried to give me like this special diet. It's called an elimination diet. I'm like, I can't do that. Just eliminate everything out of my life next week. Just start adding well, I'm like, this is not realistic. Like, no one can do this. So, and then other doctors wanted to prescribe me certain medications that had so many side effects. And I'm like, I'm not going to take those meds, So I'm like, I was left by myself basically at that moment. And then I said, well, there's the internet. So I started Googling things and researching different doctors. And I found this one doctor and I thank him so much. His name is Dr. Williams. And I started reading his book. which I have it with me right here. And it's an amazing book. This is like my Bible for food. Um, and it's Cleanse to Heal. So I started here with it, and he speaks about certain foods that can help with IBS, certain foods that you should be avoiding, that are triggering foods. And then I started just educating myself and trying certain little changes in my diet. And then I started seeing a huge impact in my life and in my health. Um, and then also I learned that, IBS is an autoimmune disease that is caused by stress and past trauma. So then I had to do like an internal check, like a spiritual check. And that's very important. Food is one thing, but also when you internalize things, us women, it affects our gut. That's where everything gets, all your emotions are there. They live there. So doing that accompanied with foods, it's been 4 years that I haven't had a flare up, and it's great. And yeah, when I do eat bad, when I go on vacation, I feel it for like a day, but then it goes away because I know what I have to do.
Oh, that's awesome. And how long ago did you start that journey? Like that you saw?
So it's been like strict, like good. I would say like 5 years now that I've been really good with it.
Sure. I think that it's like you're saying, it's a journey. You have to discover what is actually going to work, because just like you went to the doctor and you're like, this is the medication you're going to take, and that's one for all. This is the diagnosis. This is the medication, which is what we learned from Dr. Joel and Janelle, that this is a diagnosis. We treat a diagnosis versus treating the person and being able to go to the root cause. And I know that you'll have a lot to share in regards to that. Not only what is it that we're feeling or experiencing, but what is the root cause for that? And what is an actual healing that can happen from the inside out, and that your body can, really respect health.
Yeah. And that was one of the reasons. But another reason was I suffered from eczema. That was horrible in my hands. And I'm like, what the heck is going on with me? What is this thing? And I put all these topical ointments on it, steroids, and it wasn't working. Then I found out about celery and how powerful that was. Just drinking celery juice in the morning in an empty stomach. So I did that faithfully for like 6 months, and then I was healed from eczema for years. I mean, my eczema was so bad that I couldn't even wear my wedding ring for 2 years because my fingers will swell up so bad. So just doing that helped a lot with my eczema, even though I have a little flare now because I didn't eat too well while I was on vacation. So it's something that you have to be consistent with, but I'm glad I know what I have to do to get better. And also working in the pharmacy, seeing so many patients on so many medications. And I'm like, what are you eating every day? And they're like, well, this is what I eat. I'm like, did your doctor tell you what you should be eating? He's like, no, I just went for 15 minutes and he said, give me another pill. So it's like, how come people are not being educated on what they should be consuming on a daily basis? And I'm like, wait a minute. So I started educating my own patients in the pharmacy, and a lot of them have reduced taking, 10 medications. Now they're probably just on 5, just by small little changes that they have done. So those are the reasons why I'm so passionate about this. And really, because I love my children. I want my children to learn from this as well. And I want to learn more and more so I could just leave this as a legacy to my family and to the generation that's coming.
No, I think that's awesome. And I think something that Liz had brought up kind of in the intro of this episode was how us as Latinas and growing up with the culture, we don't grow up with a lot of these like healthy foods. The diet is not very, very heavy on like fruits and veggies and these kinds of things. So like you said, it's something that you have to actively teach to the next generation because it's not something that comes natural necessarily. And all of this is absolutely biblical. Like I know you showed that book that Dr. Williams showed you, which we'll put a link to that as well with this episode. But even biblically, as you look, if you were to go through and see all the different foods that are even like talked about in the Bible, even like honey is talked about all the time. If you actually start and look at those health benefits, they have so many health benefits. So it's absolutely biblical as well. So I think just to kind of piggyback kind of off what you were saying, right, to the patients that come to the pharmacy, and they've been able to get off of many of these medications we often hear the phrase that food is medicine, right? And can you explain a little bit about like what that phrase "food is medicine" means to you, and how it really helps to heal the body?
So, food is medicine because it provides all the essential vitamins and nutrients that your body needs. I mean, when you eat something, it should nurture and nourish your body some sort of way. Like if you're just going to put food dye and it's not going to do anything but give it color, why am I going to consume that? You know? So it is medicine as long as you consume it in the right amounts. You know, like I was speaking to someone not too long ago. I was telling them, if you serve yourself a plate of broccoli and you have like 2 pounds of broccoli, are you going to feel well? You're not. So, you know, it's just small consumptions of food that are rich in all these essential vitamins. It's great. And that's medicine. So just little bits and pieces of certain foods is enough. And then also because it helps you fight off any diseases. Like whenever we have a cold, we go run to the pharmacy and we'll go purchase Robitussin. If you read the ingredient label on Robitussin, I mean, if there's an ingredient there that you cannot pronounce or say it, you don't know how it's said, you shouldn't be drinking that. You should not be taking it. Versus going to honey or trying ginger. What does ginger have in it? Ginger. What does honey? Just honey. There's nothing else. You know, lemon. Maybe you can mix all three, you know, but you know how to say them: ginger, honey, and lemon, and you know where they come from. They come from a plant, you know. So it's medicine. I think that should be our first go-to. Let's try it with food, and if it doesn't work, then we'll have other alternatives. So, I wish there was a pharmacy just with medicine that just has foods in it, and that would be great.
No, that's awesome.
I was gonna say a future assignment, right, for your life. Like, Lord, what do you want me to do next? And you know, maybe in a couple of years, you have the ability to kind of nourish that idea. I think that would be incredible. I think there's so many individuals seeking out for something different. People who have been on medications for years, who are struggling with the idea of, is this what the rest of my life is look like? And I'm taking this medication and the label says it may cause X, Y, and Z. So that means if I'm taking this amount in a couple of years, I may have to take a few more. And what kind of life is that? You know, even if, you know, we were talking about going on vacation, imagine going on vacation and like 4 pills, you know, 4 of those, like, you know, like the little sliders, and you're like, well, gotta take these. I can't miss it, you know, and I have to make sure, or my refill is halfway through my vacation, so I have to change my dates. And now you're not living, you're depending on your medications to be able to sustain yourself. So, an idea like that, I know that you have experience in connecting with like holistic doctors that just giving a diagnosis like medication, and they want to know family dynamics, they want to know what you've been eating, they want to know your background. You know, can you imagine going to the pharmacy saying like, hey, this is what I have, and it's like, well, you just have to do a combination of this, and this. Here, drink this tea, and it's like, what's in it? Everything that we just
ginger, honey, and lemon.
Yeah. Like, right, for so many of us, just from a different aspect, how much more affordable might that be? Right, some of these medications have such high, like hiked up prices too, and it's like, how much more affordable might it be? Just, I'm gonna go to my grocery store. I know what things that may help whatever I'm going through. Let's try it out. And I want to emphasize, this is by no way us saying, hey, stop all your medications, go on that. Right now, that is not what we're saying, but you know, it's very much valid that our diet can play such a role in our health and ailments that we have. Things like eczema, things that are more chronic, that so many of us might live with for so long. You know, it doesn't hurt to change our lifestyle, to change our diet, and see how much of an impact that can have, right? Because like we said, so many of these medications come with so many additional side effects, and it's like you're already dealing with the issue you have, and then add the side effects on top of it. So having an approach that's more natural, and kind of like God-given, right? Could absolutely be beneficial. So I think that's important as well. And just to kind of continue on this topic, I know you mentioned a couple of things, but maybe for your journey or just in general, are there any specific foods that you believe have particularly powerful healing properties?
Yeah. And before we get into that, I want to make this clear. I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not a medical doctor. I just love nutrition. Did work with many doctors for many years. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of doctors, and I just applied all these things onto my life, and they work. And that's why I'm sharing this with you guys. So please do not make any adjustments, like Alyssa said, with any of your medications. Everybody's body is different. Listen to your doctor. If you don't feel comfortable with that doctor, then maybe you need to find another doctor. All right. So to make that clear. So yeah, there's many foods, thankfully, that God created that we can consume on a daily basis that are great for us. And they're accessible to us. We live in a country, thankfully, that you go to the supermarket and you'll find like every ingredient possible, either if it's organic, if it's from a regenerative farm, all types of fruits and veggies and things. So I would say, you must eat things that come from a plant. And when we think of plant, we think lettuce, spinach, everything green. No, think about nutmeg comes from a plant, walnuts, chia seeds, all the spices, smoked paprika comes from a plant. All spices come from a plant. So don't just think, oh, that means I have to eat broccoli and red peppers and cucumbers. No. Yeah, you do, but there's other things that come from a plant. So stick to that, adding things that come from a plant. And so, for instance, insoluble fibers are so great. So insoluble fibers are those fibers that add bulk to your poop. So make your poop bulky. Broccoli, kale, pears, grapes, brown rice, quinoa, black beans. Those are great fibers. Not only that, they have a lot of protein in them, and they also have phenols, which are antioxidants. So those are foods that are going to remove all those toxins. Like, yeah, I had Chick-fil-A. So today I might have beans, because that's going to remove all the bad stuff that I shouldn't have eaten yesterday from Chick-fil-A. So it's like a balanced diet. I mean, I eat healthy 24/7, because sometimes I do get cravings. I'm human, but just a balance. What other foods? Walnuts, almonds, all those things come from a plant, and they have plant growing out of them. It's not like a potato. Potatoes under the ground. Is there something green coming out of it? No, but a carrot does have something green. So it's a plant. Sweet potatoes are good too. I don't want to say that all potatoes are bad. Sweet potatoes are great for you too. Then there's soluble fibers, which promote lowering your glycemic level, your cholesterol, and those are like chia seeds, and those are the fibers that create like this gel-like substance in your intestine. So it's good for your gut. So it's like avocado, papaya. There's so many of them. What else? Legumes, which are all beans, red beans, kidney beans. Black beans are the best. I mean, what's better than a black bean? Put that in it. And I would put them from a bag, not from a can, because the cans have so many preservatives in them. I mean, you're not getting black beans. There's many things in them, so that can last. Check the expiration date on that can. 2-3 years. Like, what did you put in there so that can last all that time? So I would get them dry, throw them in a slow cook with some garlic, onion, oregano, all these things in there. Let that cook for many hours, and then you take the water out, blind them to make it nice and thick. Add some smoked pork in it, some cilantro at the end to garnish it, and it's gonna taste amazing. You could even put some chicken there, and your body's gonna love it because you're feeding it what it needs. Beans are good, chicken, lean meat. I know a lot of people are vegetarian. I can never be a vegetarian. I've never tried to be a vegetarian. I love meat. So since I love it so much, I'll have meat, have more plants added on my dish to kind of give it a balance. I'm not just going to have a big piece of steak and then nothing green. This is something I always tell my kids in the morning or, throughout our day. I'm like, have an apple. God, I don't want an apple. I want pancakes. I'm like, always have something good first. Because if I ate an apple, if later I want to eat a piece of, I don't know, cheese pizza, I'm like, all right, at least I had an apple today. I don't feel, so kind of balance it out, you know? Yeah.
But I like that advice, and that's something that we had heard in, I think it was either episode 2 or 3 this season. It's about having balance, right? I think some of us, especially it's a new year, it's 2025, we all have these goals that like we're going at it, but sometimes we do like the all or nothing and we fall off. I mean, I do like all or nothing. I'm like, all right, well, I've deprived myself of like things that I like desire, things that I think for so long now. Like I have a little bit of it, and it's like, all right, everything healthy that I've been doing up to this point out the window. But as you said, it's like little by little, like incorporate it into your lifestyle, incorporate it into your daily diet, and it becomes easier. It becomes easier to cook with, and it becomes easier to just start to like seek out those things a little bit better. So I think that's super helpful as well. And when you already talked about it a little bit, but when it comes to like using your diet to kind of manage whatever health issues you may be going through. So, autoimmune disorders, for example, you kind of explain that with like not all or nothing. Yeah, I go on vacation, right? I do enjoy myself, but like I know like maybe when I start having a flare up, like all right, these next few days I'm gonna take it easy. And kind of just as a question for you, what is your process for that? Like, so for example, you're on vacation, you start to get eczema flare up or IBS, whatever it may be. Kind of what is your process after that to kind of help treat yourself with your diet?
So what I do when I usually go on vacation, I'm a big faster. I love fasting. So I'll do my fasting regimen in the morning the same way, and then I'll try to break that fast with something healthy. And then maybe in the evening I'll have something not too healthy, you know, isn't considered healthy. Like maybe I love creme brulee. I'll have some creme brulee. I'll have some ice cream. I love ice cream. Um, so I'll do that. But since I fasted in the morning and I broke that fast with something healthy, it's going to be good for my gut and I'm going to feel well. Now, the days that I don't fast in the morning, that I'm like, oh, let me have some mango with some salami and some eggs. And then after that, I'm going to eat at my aunt's house and we're going to have arroz con guandule and some pernil. I don't know what she cooked with that. I don't know what seasoning she put in it. I'm not going to ask her because I don't want her to feel uncomfortable either. You guys have to be very mindful, tomorrow I'm probably going to be sick. I'm probably not going to feel well. And while on vacation, I'm sick on this trip because I probably didn't eat something I should have. I had like some sort of parasite. I thought I was going to die. But right away, I'm like, what do I have to get better? And to papaya, I started papaya seed. Like later, so just knowing your body and knowing what to expect. And if you do get sick, I mean, we're all gonna get sick. We're not, but we are perfect, but not perfect. You get it? Like we're exposed to so many pollutants. You can't avoid everything. You're not gonna live in a bubble. You're gonna say, am I gonna go to my aunt or eat there because she cooks with MSG and she cooks with adobo and she cooks with all, it's okay if you have some. Now, if you have like a high allergic reaction, obviously, stay away from it. You might next day fast, drink something, drink some black charcoal, big up charcoal, which is a chemical that helps you so your intestine doesn't absorb any like pollutants or any bacteria. It's really good. So I take a lot of them away. So just doing those little changes should be fine. I mean, I'm
That's right. That's funny. No, I love this conversation and I'm intrigued to know how we can see how God knew beforehand what we needed, right? Right when we look in the book of Genesis that he's talking about all these things that I have created here for you, they're for you to eat. They're for you to nourish yourself. And just kind of bridging over to the spiritual aspect of of what nutrition is. You know, how often are we nourishing ourselves with the organic nourishment of the scripture that God has given us versus the the term junk might be a little tough, but that's the word I'm going to use. The junk that society gives us of what Christianity looks like, and it's not working. Our bodies, our spiritual bodies are not growing. They're not developing. We're still dealing with emotional issues. We're still dealing with bitterness. We're still dealing with animosity. We're not reconciling as families. We're not able to grow and develop and actually become something. And it's like, well, you know what, I pray and I read the Bible and I go to service, and it's just not working. And I wonder if as we're consuming so much junk from what Christianity is supposed to be like, because it has to be the lights, it has to be the player, it has to be social media, it has to see. There's no real rooted, grounded, spiritual connection that is happening. That's why there's actual nourishment and development. So as we engage in this conversation, remember that we're talking about this Christian life in the modern world. And right from the beginning, God spoke to us about what He provided for us to nourish. And we need to be able to go back to that and anchor ourselves in the truth that it is Christ. He is that tree in the middle of the garden, the tree of life, was Christ Himself. So right from the beginning, He's like, I'm giving you Christ for your nourishment that's going to sustain you. And I just want us to just, as we're looking at this, let's not become narrow-minded and thinking that we're only talking about nutrition. We're talking about our spiritual development as well. And in this modern world, let us not be convinced that the junk food, the greasy food, is what's really always going to be that bad. That is, I just want to add parentheses.
Oh, and that's great.
I think, to your point, we're focused on a lot of other things, but we have to nourish the body that we've been given, right? We're given it for a little amount of time. We need to make it last as long as I think even in society today, even when you go outside of the church, our society is so many different, like GI, digestive issues, right? Whether it be lactose intolerant. So many people are on like gluten free now, because their body can handle it. And it's like, we need to get back to the basics, and eating ourselves like naturally whole food and being mindful of what we're putting in our bodies. Being mindful of looking at ingredient labels, being mindful of, all right, maybe I have no idea what 75% of the ingredients of the thing is. Maybe I should hold off on it. Actually, one thing I wanna touch on, just because you touched on it before we move on, is fasting. Right? As Christians, we're called to fast. I know that's something for 2025 that I want to incorporate more. And I'm just curious, as for you, I know you might do it daily or however you do it, but what kind of fast have you done? Both, I guess, spiritually as well as like health related. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I love fasting. And I learned about it. I mean, obviously, since I was a kid in church, we would fast when we wanted to pray to God, to listen to God, to speak to God, to kind of just have mental clarity, to be pure when we came to His feet, So it's very important because when we eat, our mind gets filled with all these chemicals, all these pollutants. Sometimes we can't even think straight. So having a clear mind, and when I say mind, is not only your brain up here. We have two brains, your intestine and your brain. So if your intestine is trying to get rid of some Doritos you just got rid of, it's working. It's hard for it to get rid of those Doritos. Think about Doritos, how hard they are going through your intestine that is so like fragile and thin. So this is working. You think you're going to be able to think right up here? No, because the brain down here that produces a lot of the hormones is working, so it's important to be clear and to fast. And one book that I would recommend before anybody gets into fasting would be this book right here, Fast Like a Girl. I mean, buy it. If I was a millionaire, I would donate it to every female on earth, because this is such a good gift. Give it to a friend, to your mother, it doesn't matter how old they are. Give it to your daughter. As soon as she learns how to read, she should learn about fasting first. Think about it. Back in the day, many hundreds of years ago, the cavemen, right? They would fast. They would be locked up, sleeping, hibernating. Then in that moment, when they felt the most hunger, that's when they had the most energy to go kill the animal, sacrifice the animal to then consume it or whatever it was. So we've been doing it for many years. We just stopped because we've been spoiled here. We have access to food 24/7. Other countries don't. And those are the healthiest countries. So I would recommend reading that book. It tells you how to fast when you're female, because we have hormones and we go through different phases. We go through and I have some information here about it. Let me just, because I don't want to miss anything. So there's like 4 phases to go through. And the first one is our phase. That's our day 1-0 of our menstrual cycle. Usually we have like a 28-day menstrual cycle, right? So day 1 through 10, that's our power phase. And there's usually when we're menstruating, when we're on our period, and us, we go through all different types throughout that time. And that time, it's the time when estrogen and progesterone are the highest. So we need to feed those hormones, and there's certain foods that feed those specific hormones. If a cheeseburger is meant to feed those hormones, sweet potato. So we need to eat foods higher in carbs, healthy carbs. You're not going to have a sandwich. That's not a healthy carb. Potato has carbs, spinach, red meat, salmon, anything healthy, beans. Those are healthy carbs. So more sugar because your body crave it. Chocolate comes from cacao. You can have chocolate. It's what we put in chocolate. Bad. All the sugar and all that. So try to eat, like I would encourage sweet potato. That's like the easiest vegetable that people like. It's so good and you can make it so many different ways. So try to eat more of those foods throughout that time. And then we go into the menstruation phase. And that's when we're ovulating. And that's from day 11 to day 15. And we're producing estrogen. That's when it's at its high. And we're going to release our egg, for ovulation. Some testosterone always be on the rise as well in our system. And we should fast throughout the time, like at least 15 to 17 hours, just to cleanse our body from the phase before, and then egg can be fertilized. You're not consuming all these bad foods that is going to avoid that egg to be healthy when it's fertilized. You understand? And then there's key foods for that, like high protein rich foods, chicken, egg, lean foods, and high antioxidants, blueberries, all the berries, raspberries. I like blueberries and raspberries. Raspberries are great because they're high in fiber. They are great. Now, don't eat a whole bowl of raspberries. 4 little pieces of raspberries, 5 pieces of blueberries, 3 pieces of blackberries. That's enough. And some Greek yogurt, no sugar, or some honey on it, or some chia seeds on it. You have like so many vitamins right there, nutrients. The only thing bad there is really and the like that's it. Everything else is great. So and just eat those foods throughout that time. If you have a calendar, like I've had to do this because we live in such a busy world that I have my manifestation phase written down, and I know what I need to eat. If I forget what day in my cycle am I in, what day am I living, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to eat this week. Because that's why there's seasons for foods. That's why we crave certain foods at certain times. But if during this stage, if I go have Five Guys and have everything on their menu, by the way, I love Five Guys, I'm not going to feel great. I'm going to be in the worst mood ever. I'm probably going to be yelling at my husband, at my kids, and it's because I went to Five Guys. If I would have had a healthier plate of food, I probably would have been the jolliest person ever. So, you know what I mean? It's food is so important. And then you have days 16 to 19, it's your creativity phase. So your estrogen starts to decline and progesterone starts to rise. And there's certain foods that feed your progesterone, avocado, nuts, foods that are high in fats, healthy fat, healthy fat. Um, if you're gonna cook coconut oil, I do not use canola oil. Anything that comes in a yellow container and this oil is probably not good. And if you can't see, if it's not in a glass container, I don't know, I would question it. How come the oil is hidden in a container? I don't know. So I would use olive oil as well. Do not fry with olive. There's so many people that cook with olive oil and they'll use it to fry something. Once olive oil reaches that heat level, it's not good for you. Olive oil is good. Like, when you make rice and it's already done and it's like warm, you pour it at the end and then you mix that rice and le da un sabor. It tastes so good. So it's using it at the end when the food is done. On your salads, you put some olive oil on it. And leucine olive oil, I wish I would have brought it. It's spelled Lucini. Lucini olive oil. They sell it at Whole Foods. It's a little bit expensive, but it's so good. A little bit goes a long way. A little bit. That's all you need. So you want to have foods that are high in magnesium throughout this creativity phase. Magnesium is so important to relax. It's good for constipation. It's good to promote healthy sleep habits. So if you have difficulty sleeping at night, magnesium is going to help you. And there's foods that have it. Spinach, dark chocolate has it. Quinoa throughout this time is good. Brown rice. Exercising is so important as well. And then the last phase, which is the nurturing phase. So that's the phase when your body's getting ready to get its period. And you want to nurture your body there. You don't want to fast. You should not fast throughout that time because you're going to be miserable. The week before, I hope women have 2.5 good weeks in a month, mood wise and like wise, because we're like, so 1 week we're like emotional. So this week, it's usually you're like crying for everything. And you're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Oh my God.
That's about it.
And then to know, okay, wait, I'm in my nurturing phase, so this is my crying phase. So on your calendar, maybe use an emoji that has like a cry, so okay, I might cry this week. And let me not make this week. You shouldn't make any tough decisions in your life because you're not going to handle them well. You're going to act on emotion. The only week that you can really like make a good decision is when you're ovulating. That's a good time to have a meeting because you're going to make great choices. You're going to be composed. So it's important to know that. So in this phase, you're going to eat not everything you want, but healthy foods like carbs, healthy carbs. You might, stick in a Chick-fil-A in there. It's fine, whatever. So, and that are high in magnesium, you're going to be PMSing. So you want ginger, turmeric to kind of like calm you down. But if you want to have that piece of chocolate, have it. Because if not, you're going to be crying or yelling and acting crazy, So just know that, So it's important to read this book. I'm telling you, girls, read it. It was life-changing to me. I mean, I want everyone to have that life. I love humanity. And I love when I see healthy women. And I hate when I see people not feeling well. And I know that there's hope out there. There is hope. And we have it. Like Mindy Pelz, she's amazing. I wish I could meet her someday. I've learned so much from her. Listen to her on YouTube, buy her books. She's great. So that's what I really have to say about fast. I don't want to get too much into it because you need to know your cycle. There's a certain way you have to do it before I don't want to tell you tomorrow, stop eating for 12 hours. That's it. You might have a heart attack. Something might happen. Yeah. So you have to take these steps and listen to your body. One last thing about fasting, MCT oil is great for fasting. It's coconut organic oil. You can buy it at your local food store. If it's an organic oil, buy it. You could put it in your water, even though oil and water don't mix, but try to, drink everything in that cup. You'll get all the oil. It'll help you contain your hunger. You won't feel as hungry in the morning. So it's good. If you want me to tell you how I fasting, I tell you what I do. It works for Jen Ortiz, me. I'm not telling you it's going to work for you.
I mean, I would love it.
We're different, So When I wake up in the morning, I wake up early. I wake up at 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning. You got to give yourself time to prepare to do all this. So I wake up in the morning, I do what I have to do, then I go to my kitchen. I'm in my kitchen for half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm not preparing breakfast because I'm fasting. So I warm up my water, warm, and I put half a lemon in it. This is what I drink. So I have that. Then once I drink that, I take some vitamins, some multivitamins that I on a daily basis. So I drink the whole water. Then I have celery juice, which you can consume while you're fasting. So don't think while you're fasting, I can only consume water and that's it. There's certain things that you can consume while you're fasting, things that are not going to make your intestine overwork. So then that brain is kind of shut down and this one is more open and clear for prayer, for whatever it is that you're trying to do, depending on what your approach is and what you're trying to accomplish. You might be fasting because, and you're doing it as a collective way in church or for whatever reason, for a situation at home. You still want to do the same thing. Just drink liquids. You could have teas. There's certain teas you can have. I don't have tea. I just have water. So that's what I do. Then when I'm going to break my fast, think about it. I'm not going to just go eat a heavy plate because I'm going to feel horrible. You might have some gas before, while you're fasting. So I usually do bone broth. I'm a big bone broth person. So I'll drink a glass of bone broth. I'll have that. And then I'll have some of my salads, which I love cilantro with a little bit of quinoa, beets, walnuts, goat cheese, what else? Avocado, flax seeds. And then I'll have some chicken in there. So I'll have that. And then after I have that, then I'll have my fruits. And then that's it. I won't eat any more. After 5 o'clock, I won't eat again. I fasted for 24 hours. The easiest way to do it is you stop eating at 5 and then you don't eat again till 5 p.m. So it doesn't really feel like you didn't eat for a whole day. You got it because I did eat, but at 5 p.m. So that's a certain way that I fast for longer periods of time. But you can fast for 12 hours, anything above 12 hours. And why 12 hours? Because your liver needs time to detoxify. So think about your liver like a filter, like an air conditioner filter, right? So you ever pulled out an air conditioner filter? It's filled with so many things. So imagine before you turn it on again, you take that filter, you clean it out. It's a process. You got to clean it out, let it air dry, so then put it back in. Maybe you want to put some aromatherapy on it so the air that comes out smells good. Whatever the heck, it's a process. So the same thing is with the liver. You stop eating, it produces bile and all these things. That's what makes your poop brown. So then it could start detoxifying your body. But if throughout that detoxification process, if you come and you add a bowl of cereal, it stopped. Because now it has to work on something else. Your body has to do one thing at a time. So think of us, we're always eating. You're never giving your intestine a break or your liver a break. So your liver needs anywhere from 12 to 16 hours to do that detox process. So then it can eat again and then it can do it again. So that's why it's so important, your liver. And I would tell everyone, read about your liver, learn about that wonderful organ that God gave you to detox your body. Yeah.
No, this is awesome. I love this conversation. And I think too, sometimes it's easier for us to kind of start doing these things and take part of these things when we understand them a little bit, when we understand what our body's doing, when we have a better understanding, it's easier to kind of stick to it and go through it. And I love the addition of as women, like our menstrual cycle impacts us so much. And I think too, bringing in the aspect of also being Christians, I think we feel a lot of the time that we have to be so many things. We have to be, of course, we have to be in control of our emotions, but as when we go through so many roller coasters throughout the month, and being able to understand that, like, oh, this isn't an attack. I'm just in this phase right now. And having space to understand that, having space to have grace with ourselves, but also knowing, like, I don't know what I can do naturally at home with my diet right now to kind of help me through this. I think that's so important, and I think that's going to help so many people. I know it's going to help.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know any of this, but just for the benefit of those who are listening and watching, there are a lot of women who struggle with their menstrual cycles. There are a lot of women who are eating regular. So they don't even know what phase you're at because the hormones are still either in the air. They're like, I don't remember my menstrual cycle. I don't know what I'm at. Okay? So for the benefit of those women, and that's not go on birth now just to kind of see what that looks like because of all the side effects that can come with that. And birth control, that is another topic, and that is nothing. I was just freaking out. You said that. However, what are if you have some suggestions for those women struggling with their menstrual cycle to try to get sort of regularity and feel better?
Yeah. So I do have a little bit of information on that. I struggled with that when I was younger. And at 13, I was put on birth control because I would have a period today and not have one for another 80 days or whatever. It was so weird. Again, I wasn't knowledgeable at that time. So I just went to the doctor. They put me on birth control and then it got regular. But there is a lot of like infertility, PCOS, disorder. And it's all comes down to the foods that we've consumed. That's it. If you think about it, years ago, many, many years ago, our grandparents will have kids, like they just look at our granddad and they're pregnant. Like, what the heck? Like they're pregnant all the time. And it's like, but they were eating organic, healthier foods. We're eating all this junk that is not feeding our hormones. So it comes to us not feeding our estrogen. It comes to us producing more testosterone because of the type of foods that we're eating. So what I would say to those women, this book explains, there's a whole chapter on that, the Fast Like a Girl book. I'm going to show it again just in case you guys forgot what it looks like. That book has a whole chapter on it, and it talks about maybe following the lunar phase. So whenever there's a new moon, that's when you would go on cycle day 1 and follow it that way. And you would do that for like 30 days. And most likely you're going to get a period. Most likely you're going to get pregnant. So a lot of women that are not fertile now, it's because of what they've been eating. Obviously there's other situations. Sometimes their husbands have some issues too. And I can't speak on that. I don't know. But when it comes to females having reproductive issues, fasting a certain way, getting rid of certain toxins in your body, introducing proper nourishment for your body, you will be able to get pregnant. You will be able to get a period. The period is not bad. I know society puts it like, oh, I'm on my period. You're on the worst day of your life. No, you're getting rid of so many things that you have to get rid of through there. Thank God. You imagine we would never get a period? Who knows? We would probably have blemishes all over the place. We probably won't have hair. Our skin would look horrible. So our body cleanses. Men don't have this fortunate. So they're not as fortunate as us that they can just cleanse their body the way we do. So periods, do not avoid your periods. There's certain birth controls that avoid them. It's not good. It's not good. That's why there's a method. If you get a period how you should, if you follow your ovulation, you do not have to use birth control. You will not get period if you have sexual intercourse in a time that you're not ovulating. You shouldn't. If you do, maybe God wanted it to happen that way, but you shouldn't. So that's what I could say. Read the book, eat the foods that you should be eating during those 4 phases of your menstrual cycle, and you will start getting a period.
I think that's so important. And to speak on it, I know I've had my own personal experience with this too. Like when I was a young teenager, I was in the hospital maybe for a week. Haynes didn't know what it was, ended up doing like the ovarian ultrasound and looked like, oh, it looks like you might have had some cysts. So for non-birth control. So we did that. And I know I have family history. My mom suffered with cysts on her ovaries as well, to the point where she even had to have ovaries removed. And so that was the fear. It's like, okay, we don't want her to go through this. Let's kind of nip it in the bud now. And I had started that when I was just an early teenager to kind of get this under control, and it messed with my hormones so bad. And I mean, we had no idea. We just kind of wanted to make sure. I mean, my mom would go through like pain, undescribable pain because of this. And, we wanted to avoid that. But I wish that there was more uh, of this teaching about this kind of stuff earlier on, because especially being on birth control and getting hormones when your body is already going through so many changes, especially at that age, it definitely impacted like my emotions. It impacted so much. And then finally, when I was a little older, and I'm like, well, I feel crazy half the time. Like I feel hormonal. I feel off balance or kind of I need to get off of this. And I felt normal, like not even stopping it. And this is not to say not stop. Whatever it may be, I guess this is a personal decision for everybody. But now that I'm open, I'm able to keep tracking my cycle, and all of this so much more beneficial, right? Um, it we just have to be very cognizant of the things that we put in our body can have ripple effects. They can affect us not only physically, they can affect us emotionally, mentally. It's so important to do your research and really get all that info. And now that I'm like also on this journey of tracking my cycle, I love all this. I actually get that, but I reading it into it. But there's plenty of apps where you can get free apps. I think I use NASA cycles or something. But just to track your cycle every day of the month, you track it like, oh, I got my period this day, or this is how I'm feeling this day. And you actually get to see the trend of like, oh, like this way at the same time. Or, oh, it looks like I'm probably ovulating at this month. Maybe that's why I'm feeling this way. And then to add in the aspects of like, you can do this is when I should be eating these kinds of foods, or when I should be fasting. I think it can just have such a positive impact on us as men.
You're completely right, and I I would encourage everyone to continue doing their research, continue finding information, work for your doctor as well. Like Maya said earlier, yeah, it's just a doctor. Maybe it's time to find a new one. Um, because it's so important for us to take care of our bodies. Like Alyssa mentioned, these were the bodies that were given to us so that we can be effective in the life that we have been granted. So we just want to do our due diligence here at My Modern World. We want to be able to encourage Christians to take care of their body, take care of their mind, take care of their spirit, be individuals who are well educated, well rounded, and like Alyssa said, perhaps they're not an attack the enemy. Perhaps it's just our feelings, it's our hormonal cycle. And I think we have so much more to talk about. We're gonna close it here for today, and we will have a part two. So please stay tuned for the release of that. That small disclaimer: are not medical professionals. We're not here to tell you exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it, but we do want to encourage you, but take care of yourselves. Take care of your husband, your wife, if you're married. Take care of your children if you have them. One of the things that I learned from Joanne was, if I love my children this much, why would I kill them with the food I give them? So, Seri Karazanao, again, until next time. Bye.
Bye.